I had an interesting question come in about Christmas being abbreviated with an X, M-A-S, Xmas. And had someone say that's pagan, that's wrong, that's people trying to X Christ out of Christmas. So I thought I would just respond to that from a historic perspective, in that from the earliest times, Christian scribes, and by that I mean people that copied New Testament manuscripts or wrote about Christ very early on in the Greek language, loved to abbreviate Christ's name, his title, Christ, with an X. If you see here, here's the Greek word for Christ, Christos, and you see that first letter there is a chi, or an X. And when the scribes were translating, not translating, but copying rather, one Greek manuscript to another, they loved these, what they called nomina sacras. They were abbreviations of the sacred name. And depending on the case ending on the noun, they would put another letter next to it. But usually, and if it sometimes would stand alone, just chi would stand alone, and that was representative of Christ. So and by the way, if you want proof of that, you can look in books like this that have the texts of the earliest Greek manuscripts. Here's 107 of the earliest manuscripts, and it's replete full of nomina sacras, which are abbreviations of Christ's name with a chi. So it's very common. I know from the time I was in Bible school in the early days, we always abbreviated Christ with a chi. And Christmas, I remember my earliest notes preaching about Christmas always put chi M-A-S, chi M-A-S. So while some see it as a Xing out of Christ, it's certainly not how it was intended. And those who wrote it initially in Christian shorthand, if you will, would use it, and I don't mean in the early manuscripts, but today when people would talk about Christmas, remember my professors writing it on the board that way. It's just the way we talked about Christmas in an abbreviated format. So chi stands for Christ. It's the Greek letter that begins the name Christos, and it's not of pagan or atheist derivation. It doesn't come from atheists trying to X Christ out of Christmas. So you can use that abbreviation without guilt if you'd like to.